Ladies and gentlemen, Tactical Advance here, and welcome back to some more Star Citizens. Now, today we're going to take a look at the Avenger. Very kindly, one of my subscribers, Lee, I don't know your actual YouTube name, so obviously clearly I'm not going to say your second name, but anyway, thanks Lee, I appreciate it, it's very kind of you. He's let me log in so we can take a look around the Avenger. Now, when you actually see it in videos, it actually looks small. It looks almost like, it looks like a fighter. And what I mean by it looks like a fighter, when you actually compare it against something like I know it's not, it's no means a fighter, but if you compare it against something like the Hornet is actually longer, which is surprising, really. And the height is exactly the same. The actual hull mass weight is exactly the same. So, with that said, you sort of expect to sort of get in the pilot's seat and that'd be it. But really, it's not like that at all. There's a lot to this, and I think it is in its own class to some extent. I think it's in its own class at the moment because it's the first one to have a module that none of the other ships yet have. Now, what is the Avenger used for? Now, the Avenger could be used for, it's a multitask ship, there's no doubt about that. But one of the things it comes with, which we'll take a look in a second, it comes with, I think that there's a total, if you want to count them, count your own one, there's actually 5 sleeping compartments. Now you sort of ask yourself, okay, why have we got these 5 sleeping compartments? Now, in the rear hull, which we'll have a look at in a minute, there are 4 sleeping pods. And there's also a sleeping pod halfway up the centre of the ship. Now, obviously, this one in the centre is obviously the pilot. But the rear ones could be for, I suppose, really one of 2 things, really, I think. The first thing it could be a prisoner. I don't know how that concept's going to work in the game yet. But the first thing I thought about when I thought about the 4 pods, let's just say someone's come on a trip with me on my Constellation or my Starfare or something, right? And then all of a sudden, he decides, actually, he no longer wants to be he wants to go back. He wants to go somewhere else. Now, far as I'm aware, there's going to be no means for you to teleport somewhere unless you die. Now, you don't want to die because you're going to lose your character. So, the only way you could really get back, I don't know if we can call it a taxi. The only way it's going to get back is either to get a lift with someone. Now, the advantage of having this with this module it's got at the moment with the 4 sleeping compartments is, you could actually go, just say, I'm in mid-space, the Avenger could come and meet me, and it can actually take away 4 of my crew, and the 4 of the crew, or to even take 2 or 3 of them. Now, the sleeping pods are there. Let's just say that player might not necessarily want to stand inside the ship for the whole trip. He might just want to say, look, I'll go in the sleeping pod, let me know when we get there, and I'll wake up and blah blah and so on. The only downside with that is as I say, when we looked at the Aurora last time, we did identify that them Aurora doors have got them round hatches, so I'm not quite sure. Actually no, it's fair to say, I reckon that actually if you go under here, it's either for the module, I can't know if we can actually look, but there's a round hole under here as well. I don't know if that's going to be a hatch as well. We can get down there, let's have a look. Is there a round hole here? I don't think I can actually get over that way, that's why. Is it here? Can't quite make it, guys, but it's just under there. So, maybe that's going to be the case. Now, I mean, we can only speculate at the moment. I've read on the forums and, the speculation of what it could be. But, I mean, it sounds like it's going to be. I like to think that I'm pretty much nearing the, what it could be. Now, like I said, so really, this is the same weight as a Hornet, which is quite surprising, really, for what you actually get with it. Now, it can carry 10 tons. It's got, obviously, 1 pilot seat with the optional of 4 other sleeping. I suppose they could have walked around in the back, depending on really. Now, the power plants are rank 3. So, let's just compare it against the Hornet. The Hornet's a 4. But the one advantage this has over most of the ships, it has a tier 5 main thruster. So, this ship's going to be really, I'm assuming it's going to be really, really quick. I mean, power to rate ratio, if you look at something like the Hornet v the Avenger, now we can make the assumption that the Avenger is going to be faster. But don't get me wrong, you know, the Hornet has obviously got a tier higher maneuverability thrusters, which sort of totally makes sense. So it's not like, you know, you're going to be out maneuvering a Hornet by any means. But if you had to sort of compare power to ratio, that's, you know, it's the nearest one you can actually do because of the actual weight. Now, obviously you can't compare it against guns. There's no way you can compare it against guns because obviously the Hornet's built for actually a fighting purpose. But I think this, if I had this would be me. I'd either be picking people up, moving people around, and charging them to move them, moving prisoners, smuggling, you know, illegal goods, and all that sort of stuff, really. And I mean, looking at it, I mean, you look at the way it's sort of shaped, you get the impression that the energy signature of this ship's going to be low. Now, the tier 5 thruster is obviously going to draw, you know, quite a high energy signature, but at the same time, that's the way I see it. You know, I saw the role that I see it taking. Now, one of the other things I've actually noticed, I had a good look round. I mean, I've been, you know, I've properly been looking at all the writing on the side and, you know, trying to work out what each bits are. And let's start at the front anyway. Now, the first thing obviously I noticed is the front gun is obviously, it looks like it's on a rotational pivot. So, you know, if you're flying towards a target, you get the impression that it's going to be able to move, it looks like up and down, and maybe, it's not quite sure if it's left or right, it looks like up and down, which is a good thing. So it's got a sort of a rotational cup link there, you could say. So the front gun, you know, you can fly towards something, and if it's flying down or up above you, you can still shoot them. To a certain degree, I imagine. Now, the front gun looks pretty beefy, so it looks like a pretty good gun. Actually, let me just, I'm just going to have a quick, I think that is... Okay, so it's got Class 3, which is the Talonstalker IR, which is, they're the ones under the wing, and it's got one Tiger Streak on the nose. So that's the Tiger Streak on the nose. Now, these are obviously the other weapons. It's got the same one on the other side. But what I did notice here, I was looking at this, before dropping tank, disconnect. Now, fuel tanks. So it's carrying additional fuel tanks. Now, we already know that there's going to be options for some other ships to take fuel tanks as well, but the Avenger obviously comes with that to start with. So this one thing we don't really know yet. We don't really know when they say it's a long range ship. What does that mean? What does that mean to us? I mean, it's long range. It goes a long way. But if two ships are long range, now one of them might go further than the other. Well, that's what we don't know. But what we do know about this, it has a lot of extra fuel tank. It's got one there, two, and there's actually another one I saw. I think it's under the centre section. Either that or it's some sort of missile. Hang on. It's under here. Is it under here? Definitely saw another one somewhere. Let's go around this way. See if I can get under the rear. Don't think I'm about to get under there, am I? Can't quite get under there. I think there's a third underneath. I can't be sure. Pretty certain I managed to get under there earlier. And I was messing about. It doesn't look like it. Maybe there's two. Not quite sure. I'd like to get under there. One thing I like to see in the game, this is going to sound a really stupid request, but it's sort of something that Star Citizens have put in the game. I want a torch. I want a torch. I want to be able to shine a torch down here and actually see what's going on, you know. I mean, it's something that you should. It's a tool that you should have. So, you know, I'd like to see a torch in the game of all things. Simple thing, really. Because the lighting's not that great underneath. Now, one thing... I mean, this is the updated version of the Avenger, but let me point out, PBR is not on this yet. Although PBR was on the Avenger that we saw in the video, but the video was only 720 anyway. I mean, even at 1080p, that's still not really, you know, you're not really appreciating it still because YouTube are, you know, reducing that video down to 6-bit, which is reducing the quality anyway. Now, Tier 5 thrust on the rear, absolutely huge. I don't know if that whole section, the whole big square there is going to light up, or is it going to be one section in one little small piece in the middle? We'll have to wait and see when it goes live. Now, there's two ways. It looks like there's two handles here. You've got a handle here, Is that a handle? I think that's the handle. Let's have a look. There's one here. Now, I'm assuming these are handles, because looking at these earlier, it's the same... Although you can open the door from here, okay, which I'm going to do now. There we go. It still has these things here. So I was thinking, I wonder what they're there for. The fact there's one on either side. Now look, I don't know if you can see there's a little line in the wing there. Do you reckon that wing folds up, guys? I'm only guessing, right? But because I don't know, but looking on the top there, can't see any hinge, but it just seems a bit odd that I'm seeing light down the edge of the wing here. Might be wrong, but why have a handle on that side and that side? If it was only on one side, then I would say it was for the back door. It's the fact that, you know, there's one on either side, which just seems a little bit odd. Now, the attention to detail. I mean, don't forget, we're looking at this without PBR. It still looks great, don't get me wrong. I was looking around earlier, and the detail they go into, I just wish I could show you under it. It's just a little bit too dark. The fact that they've actually put these wires in here, and they actually plug in up the top there. I mean, I wish we could actually, like I said, we had a little bit more light. And the fact that this gun here has this sort of rib section here, and you can see the lighting inside. I mean, they didn't need to do that. They could have made that two-dimensional, so, you know, it was flat all round. But they've actually gone out, you know, to make separate components around the gun, which is really impressive. Now, going in the back, it's got quite a few rams, actually. I was quite surprised, actually, when I come in the back, that the fact that there was actually 4, let's say, hydraulic rams that shut the door. Probably a little bit over the top. I don't know what you think. Probably do with 2 of them. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe the door's very heavy, I imagine. Or maybe it's the fact that, I suppose it is a sort of airlock, so maybe it's got to be that secure. You don't want any air coming in the back. Can we actually close this now we're in here? Let's close it up. Animations are really nice. See the door's closed now. There we go. Now these little lights here, I'm hoping that things like this, you know, when one of these rams go, the lights go out on, the red light comes on or something like that. Now the attention to detail, I mean this is, I mean a lot of people who are new to the game probably don't, you know, they're watching this and thinking, well not new to the game, but you know, not watched one of these videos before. They're thinking, oh, what's this guy going on about? But it's the fact that for the best way I can explain it, normally in a normal game, when you look at a wall, you're looking at a flat object, really. You're looking at a wall that is one big image, and in some cases it might have, you know, something sticking out like a fire extinguisher. Now, with this, what we're saying is, if I go around this side, look, we're saying that actually everything you're physically seeing that is face on is three-dimensional. It has I mean, I don't know if the screw heads are, I don't know if I'm going that far, but I think PBR will add the depth of field, and what I mean by that is, if you look at that sort of rusty sort of, I don't know, the bubbly sort of effect there, with like that bar, between the bar and the rivets there, once PBR is added, that will make that look more realistic, because at the moment, it's the only thing letting it down. I mean, when I say letting it down, we're talking to the extreme level here. This is not entry level. This is, even at this level, it's way beyond anything else that we've seen so far. There's no doubt about that. And then it's pretty much follows through. I mean, even look at the floor. I mean, if I can actually let's get the right button here. I was going to actually have a look. Can't really zoom in too much, no. But I mean, if you look at these rubber hoses coming out the floor here, they actually are a hose. It's not like we're looking at an image, and the way that they fold under the floor, and the gap between the floor and the sort of whole floor, if you know what I'm saying. There is actually, the depth of field is very, very good, and this is what's making it really immersive. And when you come in here, it's sort of one of the ones where you've got to come in here to appreciate it. And these sort of things I want to point out because, it's just the attention to detail on everything. I think once, like I said, once the PBR is added, we're going to see another new element to this, where it's going to be just blows away, I should imagine. Now, these are the 4. You get 4 of these pods here. Now, once again, like I said earlier, these are here for a reason. These are for transporting, we'll say humans or aliens, or who knows what we're going to be transporting. But transporting people, let's say, should we call it status, I suppose? They're not going to be, I don't know, maybe they can just wave at you while they're inside the box. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work. But the other thing I thought about, if it is a prisoner, there's got to be a way for you to put in some sort of code. Was that actually going to let me use that, is it? Oh, it does. Look. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I see. I'm assuming I can do that on the same on all of them. Let's just try. Okay, I see that. I actually get in there. We'll just close one and we'll try the M1. Let's have a look. I think that might be on the back door. It's trying to get in, but it's just not quite there yet, is it? Let's try another one. No real reason to go in there, really. I don't think it's going to achieve anything. I'm just trying it just to see. Not a lot of room in there. I mean, you sort of almost is it right? Fair to say you're sort of like bubble wrapped in, aren't you? Really, aren't you? You're sort of compressed in. Once you're sort of standing up there, the front door is really holding you standing up. I don't think I'll be able to get in there, guys, but. So that's the thinking anyway. And I'm hoping they do some sort of interaction on this panel where you have to type in a code. Or something, I don't know, because otherwise if they're prisoners, they've got to be secure in there. And I'm assuming some of this information here is going to be on their status, you know, their health. And are they in-game and all that sort of general information. But it'd be nice to have a little module for here to actually put in a code. So, you know, if you do get attacked or anything like that, you know, it's going to bring a really good dynamic into the game, because then when someone attacks a ship like this, they're going to know that they can't kill the pilot, because the pilot's going to know the combination for the pods. So, you know, he might do him a deal and say, look, you can take one of them if you leave me with the other three. I don't know, but I mean, just having that dynamic in the game would just, you know, it bring them scenarios into play. I'm just using my imagination here, guys. I don't know if that is going to be the case or not, but, you know, it's something that, you know, it's a scenario that would be interesting to explore, I think. So, yeah, like I said, interesting. Looks good. I'm interested to see how these are going to work. It's the first ship we've actually seen these pods in so far. So really looking forward to seeing what these actually do, and then how they can actually be used in the game. I think so. Something to look forward to, definitely on this one. And it's probably one of the main things is why that Avenger's quite unique. Now, the other thing you've got to take in consideration, remember what I said earlier? This is weighing the same as a Hornet. Look, I'm standing inside, guys. I'm walking around. Does question like what, you know? I know the depth is more on the Avenger, but it does sort of make you think, actually, all this room must be taken up by something inside the Hornet, you know, even if it's half the size. It must be just wiring or something, I don't know. So, like I said, I mean, this is not even all of it, so we can continue through here. Now, remember them round things I showed you earlier on the rear? I mean, they look like handles to me. Yeah, we've got one here. Let's see if we can use this one. Here we go, spins round like that. Here we go through here. Now this is sort of like, I'm going to call this is the crew quarters now. So we've got I suppose this could probably be a multitude of things at the back. I'm sure that the sleeping chambers are going to be modular, and you can take them out, and you can probably put something else in there. And something you're probably going to see in the Avenger is something like some sort of lead-plated or some sort of armor-plated cargo hold for smuggling illegal goods. So when you get scanned by other vessels, that your cargo won't be visible. Now, it's got one of these pads here again. See, I noticed this, so I'm just speculating on this, guys, because we don't really know. I think now, my guess would be that looks very similar to the ones that are on the pods, right? So I reckon that is going to be, you would like to think it would be a status of your crew. So maybe it had like crew 1, crew 2, crew 3, crew 4. Or pod 1, pod 2, pod 3, pod 4. And you look at that, and it would tell you the status of the crew members. Because you don't really want to have to, if you're coming into sleep status, or you just want to have a quick look, you want to be able to get that information there. But I'm sure, as well, we'll get up there in a minute and see if there's another one, but you like to think that there might be one up here as well, so we'll have to wait and see. So, looking around in here, very impressive again. It's using the standard B&Q light tubes. Could have done with a little bit of a guard on there. Maybe they're not normal tubes, but like I said, looks nice in here. Once again, the depth of field is very, very good again. Love the way that they've gone into the attention to detail here. Looks very, very good. Now, I'm squished up in here. Obviously, I'm ducking because there's not a massive amount of room. And as you can see, now the sleeping quarters. I think I can actually get in here. Let's have a look. Doesn't look like it, does it? Probably can, but You don't really need to see me lying down in there anyway, do you? Now, this is obviously for the crew member. And then finally, moving up here, with the door open. Now, this is obviously the upgraded seat. This is the pilot seat. Looks like a Recaro, doesn't it? Looks like a nice seat. Let's jump in. Here we go. Right, so looking around now. I reckon that maybe that one there. I don't know. They look very similar, don't they? Hard to say. You want one of these panels. I know we're gonna get the heads-up display. We've seen a demonstration already of the of what's to come. Not on this brand of ship, but we've seen the actual controls are going to be on the screen. So it's almost like they're in your visor. You will have these as well, some displays. But I'm assuming that some of these displays will be related to your cargo. You know, what's the status of your cargo? I mean, if you think about it, if it's got them 4 people carriers, you know, and they're alive, you know, you need to make sure that cargo is at full health. So if they don't give us something up front to about review the status of them, well, then that'd be just daft, wouldn't it? Because otherwise, what you have to do is you have to get out of here, go in the first door, out the second door, look at the panel, come all the way back again. So my guess would be is one of these here. I don't know, maybe the middle one. They all look very similar, don't they? I know it's the style of the ship, so who knows? So a little bit of work. There's loads of work to do on these anyway. Looks good. I know the hand's not on the sticks yet, but a little bit of work to be done on that. And I should imagine most of this stuff would be... The next release of this will probably be on the PBR release, I imagine. And then it'd be at the same time as they probably do the UI interface, I should imagine. So, very impressive. Quite surprising, actually. When you're standing outside, when I looked at all the stats and I looked at all the specs and, you know, you start looking at everything, and then you actually think, hang on a minute, that actually weighs the same as a Hornet. Then you start to think, actually, you know, quite surprising how much room's actually inside there. So, once again, we've still got these little slits in the wings there. I'm always interested to find out what that's going to be. I have to wait and see. I wouldn't have thought the wings would have to fold in. But like I said, there's some funny little rings there. We'll have to wait and see what they do. There might be some sort of cup link things or something. Now, there's no way to actually get in the door here yet. Is that a major issue? No, I don't think so. I would suspect to have maybe like a set of steps, maybe. I'm not sure if they're going to have a door. Now I'm saying that I can see the handle up there, so we know it opens, right? But I expect a set of steps here, unless this side panel opens and you do climb in from the side, which you could possibly do. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not quite certain on that one. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, look. I mean, it's a look round it, you know, and see what you think. I was quite impressed with it. I think this is going to be a really sort of stealthy. You know, this is quite unique on the basis that it's got them. You know, them pods in the back. Plus the fact that it definitely sticks out. I mean, compared to all the other ships, apart from the F-50 or that little speedy little thing, it's in its own class. It almost looks like a space rocket, doesn't it? That sort of thing. You know, that's something that will land on, you know, come back into the atmosphere. Any glass in there? I think there is glass. Yeah, there is glass. Yeah, they haven't added. You can see the glass. They haven't added the mirror, the effect you get when you move around onto the glass yet neither. So they've got a bit of work to do on here, but like I said, we know this is going to be probably one of the first ones with PBR, and I think that's really going to be quite a big benchmark in the game, because that's going to be taking everything to the next step. You know, not only do they achieve this very good visual representation of a ship, but now they're going to take that next step and implement PBR, which is just going to make things look fantastic. It really is. But don't forget, PBR, guys, is just, you know, it's a material pack. If you want to go for the simplistic answer, it's like a paint palette that's already been defined, and it's just got the best metals and the best looks of everything. It's not going to go just on the ships. It's going to go on everything. I mean, we're talking hangars and all our boxes and everything. So, you know, that, I think for me that's going to be the most exciting thing, because I love the attention to detail, and I'm gonna really look forward to seeing the PBR implemented on one of the ships, particularly on the Constellation. I mean, the reason I say on the Constellation, because the Constellation is such a sharp, you know, it's got so many elements to it It's not, it's not a single wing. There's a lot of detail to it. So it's probably going to be the hardest one to do, isn't it? Probably, I imagine, out of all of them. And that's probably why they did the Avenger first, because there was a lot more flat surface and a lot of less area on the Avenger to actually implement PBR than there would be on any of the other ships. But so anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the video, and just to give you a bit of an insight, and it's one, I'm thinking about it. I'd like to find out a little bit more about these pods, and how they're going to be used. Because obviously you're going to make money out of it. You're going to make money out of the pods. If you're transporting people, theoretically you're a long-range taxi, aren't you? Or, and transporting prisoners as such. You do have a cargo hold as well, so it's not like, you've got cargo space, so you can actually carry cargo as well. It's got a relatively good, I think it's around about, it's 10 tons for the cargo, which is a going rate, but you got 10 tons with them pods. I'm not sure. That's a good question. Do you get 10 tons with the pods, or is that excluding the pods? I'm not sure about that yet. I would say, to be honest, it doesn't look like you can get 10 tons in there with them pods there. I would say the pods have to come out, but I may be wrong. Actually, it might be a way we can find out. We'll have a look on the desk and see if it'll let me de-equip the pods. And then that'll give me an idea. Let's have a look. And we're going to go for... wrong button. First of all, let's move in. Thrusters cargo. Let's have a look. I think that's on cargo. It's not letting me do anything on there, is it? So let's make the assumption that's a no then. Well, I don't think it's not. It's fair to say that's not a no. That's probably more than likely. So I won't actually move out of there now. There we are. It's not necessarily a no. It's probably more than likely. The cargo element of it hasn't actually been added in as yet. There we go. He's got a nice little ornament in his cabinet. Nice bed there, and a bit of a power nap. So, ladies and gentlemen, anyway, look, I was going to do a bit of an update on the hangar update, guys, but look, the reality is, there's not... I'd rather do it on the ships, guys. If anyone's got me a ship... I'd like to do it on the Cutlass next, guys. If anyone's got a username they can send me for the Cutlass, I would love to do one on the Cutlass, because that's something... I know the Cutlass hasn't no physical animations yet, but I'd like to have a look around it and do a video on it, because I'm sure you'll all like to see as well. Now, I was going to take a look at this thing, guys, but look... Yeah, you can only load the guns you got on there, and not all of them you can load because the animations ain't done, so you pretty much just got one laser cannon and you can shoot the targets. So, that's it on that. I don't see that as a key part of the game, to be honest. I think they've just added that in just to keep us entertained, when really, it was not fully featured enough really to entertain us, but fair play for implementing it. It's blooming detailed if you look at it. Just actually look at the time they must have spent doing this, actually. Must have took them quite some time, but anyway. But today it was more about this, and as you can see, Christmas time here, guys. So I suppose best way to leave it. Merry Christmas, guys. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.